How's it going, guys? Just a quick video on a trade that I just took. So I've reopened my Bitcoin long at the 69,200 region, and I've added a little bit more. It's around 240k in size. I still have my tower position open and my sol position. I closed off my say position, and now the market has not continued on in a very aggressive way. It's actually reverted back to this support line that is previously resistance. And why I took the long here is not only because that line represents a previous resistance, but also if we look carefully at the price action, right? As per the methodology that I taught in my first video, you see the price action do this, and that can be measured, right? So if there's confluence with the 1618, as you can see here, 1618 with a support line, take the trade. And what is the first target to take profit? I would be very conservative and not take the fib from the high here, and try to marry these fibs up with potential supply regions within the area here. And let me mark these out for you. Right, so there's this, and you can see some noise here of people entering and exiting the trade. So the market psychology is some people have entered this area. This chop around has caused some psychological stress in market participants. Some people are still trapped in their trade here, and they're looking for an exit at break even. And you've got your fib levels on the side here. 0.5 is sometimes of significance, and in this circumstance, people here will want to break even. And 0618, people who entered in this zone will sell as well. So now that we've established that, we know that it possibly moves up to the 0.5, and then maybe wicks to the 0618 before rejecting and maybe putting in a W type formation and going upwards, or further breaking down from the support line, right? So why is that an important trade? Because if we're going to take that and stop below the wick, that is a trade with 4.5 R, right? And if you can take that trade multiple times during the cycle or during the way up, you get a lot of good returns on your trade there. Not only that, you would hold some of that size because this is a support region where if we hold this level, we can start to allow it to grow to the upside, because November is generally bullish in election years, right? So what is the course of action in terms of managing the risk here? As you can see from my position, I've sized in around 140k, and then as it's dipped, I pushed in another 100k. So maybe I take off the 100k of size once it gets that zero-ish region, and that will be around 2.6k in profit. And I can move my absolute stop lower at the same risk. How much am I risking on this trade? 1.3k, right? So that will more than cover my risk at this size, and also allow anything to the downside to be monitored in profit, right? And there are other opportunities that may present themselves as the price progresses. Now, let's go to some other charts, maybe Tau. As mentioned in my previous video, the breakout, or the breakdown rather, of this ascending wedge structure is a very common thing within the Tau price action, right? And doing so initiates a push to the downside that wicks out or pushes below the actual start of the structure. And this is something that has occurred multiple times over. And should November be bullish, now would be a pretty good time to bid on Tau, because anything below this neckline, I'll call it a neckline, right? Anything below the neckline, that little dip here, would be an ideal area of accumulation for any Tau bulls out there. And perhaps it's something that I'll start to consider as well into the next few days. Despite the fact that BTC might be pushing up a little bit, alts can still continue to bleed and struggle, as they do when Bitcoin is pushing towards all-time high and beyond all-time highs. You notice that on the actual Bitcoin dominance, it will start to continue, well, it will continue to rise, right? And as per every other thing that I've spoken about, I use fibs for the dominance as well. And like Bitcoin, the log scale is turned off, and we are at the 0.618 for the Bitcoin dominance. However, it is possible to go to 0.65, right? I think it could even, further extend and just hover around that area while things move up together. Once Bitcoin pushes above its all-time high again, as you can see here, it does have a tendency to push above at times, which is okay, but then it's potential time to start sizing in on the alts. That being said, an alt season is not promised, so don't cry me a river if your alt doesn't pump, because a lot of alts will not pump the way that you think they will this cycle. The game is a little bit different. Let's have a look at Ethereum and why the timing of the Ethereum BTC chart sort of aligns with Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance chart in a way. So perhaps I'll bring it up on the screen on the right, and the level that I am looking to perhaps consider Ethereum as a trade or investment. As we can see here, we have a structure within Ethereum that creates a swing high, swing low, and a lower swing high. And that's similar to the structure to the left side in the 2016 bull market, after Ethereum does a big rush to the high, right? And at the moment, Ethereum does look like it's struggling, but then that's generally the case before it moves up heavily. It's not promised, but you're promised good risk to reward, essentially. So once this falls lower, it's sort of in line in terms of magnitude with how far the Bitcoin dominance has to go, or remains within its uptrend, right? So when you do see the Bitcoin dominance hit the 0.65, perhaps it's time to consider rotations to Ethereum. That being said, the USDT chart for Ethereum is looking quite precarious, in the sense that it has broken down, and it looks like, unless it starts to move up very, very, very soon, this distribution, well, that's what I mean. It could appear to be a distribution structure. And what I mean by that is that it looks very, very, very similar to something like this, right? Over here on the left side, let me get out the bar pattern. And this shouldn't be like, out of the question as well. Like, we could have potentially topped in terms of the market. And I'll explain in a second. I know that sounds fucking pretty grim, but just be prepared that this could be the outcome, right? Where Ethereum is done, the ETF was the top, and Bitcoin is done, and we are going down for a very long time from here. That's very, very, very possible still. However, that being said, as long as we're above this line and Bitcoin is still posturing to the upside, we will still bet in that direction. Doesn't mean you don't hedge your bets. You can hedge if you please, but that is what it looks like to me at the moment. I feel like I might be missing something. Let me think. Should write a list before I open up these videos. I had one more thing to show everybody. I'll make another video once it comes to mind. Oh yeah, I remember now. Why I say that it could be the end of the cycle, and I understand that I've measured out the 150k, and I understand that I'm still long on the market, is because of the following. As you can see from previous markets, we usually top on this indicator called the risk metric, right? I think, and I'm not like a huge fan of his videos, but Into the Cryptoverse, this is like another version of his indicator. We've actually topped out technically on this indicator during that March period of this cycle. And our rise here might actually come up again, but it doesn't have to, right? This could potentially be on the downtrend, and we could be exhibiting the same behavior as this cycle top here, which I am, hoping it's not, but should that start occurring, we should be very mindful of our exposure if there is a breakdown on the Bitcoin price action, right? That's sort of it for now. What we need at the moment from Bitcoin is weekly closures above the 74k region, and hopefully November can bring us some nice green candles that push us far into the upside and into the fun times of a potential bull market. One more thing as well, fuck, I keep forgetting stuff. The breakdown of the S&P 500 or SP 500 mini futures does appear like it's coming down to fill this daily gap here, right? The daily gap down another 2%, and that could drag the Bitcoin crypto markets down even further. So manage risk accordingly, stay alive. It's a very difficult environment, tough as fuck to trade. So be very careful. There is still potential for downside. The risk is very real, and I guess what we can be hopeful about is that there are gaps above at the moment for a turnaround. Maybe once these lows are swept, yes, I could get stopped out of the Bitcoin long. Should we keep pushing down on the stock market? But top callers on the stock market, I feel are valid in their concerns because we are showing like bearish divergences on the RSI. However, the magnitude at which the previous cycle has given us our level at around the 6.3k region has not been met yet, and every single other 17 or 18-year cycle or whatever has taken out a key fib level created by the previous cycle. So that is something that I'm hopeful for, and as you can see here, the 1618 is hit from the Great Depression, right? This is measured from, I don't know what this bear market entailed, but in the 75 region, there was a 10-year bear market. That region created a 4618, which was tapped. I'll return these on my chart so that I don't forget. And now we have a 2618 level, a significant level, which has not been tapped yet. We're just under it, right? I still think we have a little bit more to the upside before the market really has problems. Yeah, some things to consider here. Hopefully that gives you my current outlook on the market. If we start breaking down, there could be more sideways action before any significant upside, but it seems likely that the November and December period could be quite positive. Generally, when September, October have been positive, those 2 months that follow are positive 100% of the time. Doesn't mean that it guarantees us the next month as positive. Something else to note is that November is generally putting in a bottom within the first 3 days, and another reason why this trade has been taken. Very low risk, right? Thanks, guys. That was a little bit long-winded, but I wanted to get some ideas out there. Hopefully my mouse and zooming in and zooming out hasn't gotten anyone dizzy. Take care. Peace.